United block Mainoo exit, the decision that could save or destroy his career. Welcome to United News, where we tell you the hard truths about Manchester United that other outlets will not touch. When your club is making decisions that could define the career of one of its brightest young talents, when a homegrown star is being frozen out by a stubborn manager, when the future of an academy graduate hangs in the balance, you need someone to cut through the spin and tell you what is really happening. That someone is us. Today, we need to talk about Kobbie Mainoo and the decision Manchester United have just made that could either save his career or destroy it completely. United are reportedly going to block any attempts by Mainoo to leave in January, even though he desperately wants to play football and his career is stalling under Ruben Amorim. This is a critical moment for both the player and the club. Let me take you through everything you need to know about this situation and why it should worry every single United fan who cares about the future. The breaking news that changes everything. Let me start with the news that has just emerged and why it is so significant. According to reports from Team Talk, Manchester United are expected to block further advances for Kobbie Mainoo in January. This means that even if Mainoo wants to leave on loan to get playing time, even if clubs come in with offers, United will say no and keep him at Old Trafford. This is despite the fact that Mainoo has been desperately trying to leave since the summer. He asked to go out on loan during the latter stages of the summer transfer window because he could see he was not going to get opportunities under Ruben Amorim. United said no then, and they are apparently going to say no again in January. This decision will have massive consequences. For Mainoo's career, for his confidence, for his England hopes, for his relationship with Manchester United, for how fans view the club's treatment of young players. Before we discuss whether this is the right decision, let me give you the full context of Mainoo's situation this season. Mainoo's disastrous fall from grace. The decline of Kobbie Mainoo from regular starter to forgotten man has been stunning in its speed and severity. Just over a year ago, Mainoo was one of the most exciting young players in English football. He broke into Manchester United's first team and immediately looked comfortable at Premier League level. He played with maturity, technical quality, and intelligence that belied his young age. He was so impressive that England manager Gareth Southgate called him up to the national team. Not just for friendlies or as a squad player, but as an actual starter. Mainoo played in the Euro 2024 final for England against Spain. The Euro 2024 final. At his age. That is an incredible achievement. United fans were buzzing. Finally, we thought, another academy graduate who could become a first-team regular for years to come. Another player who understood what it meant to wear the shirt. The future looked bright for Kobbie Mainoo. Fast forward to now and everything has changed. Mainoo has started just one game for Manchester United this season. One game. And that was in the EFL Cup against Grimsby Town, one of the lowest-ranked teams United faced all season. In the Premier League, Mainoo has not started a single match. Not one. He has appeared 5 times, but only as a substitute. His total playing time in the league is just 113 minutes. That is barely over 20 minutes per appearance. For a player who started in a European Championship final just months ago, this is a catastrophic fall from grace. How does this happen? How does a talented young player go from England's starting 11 to not even making Manchester United's team? The answer is simple and painful. Ruben Amorim does not rate him highly enough. Why Amorim is not playing Mainoo? Let me explain why Ruben Amorim is not giving Kobbie Mainoo the playing time he deserves. It comes down to Amorim's tactical system and his preferences for what he wants from midfield players. Amorim plays a 3-4-3 system that requires very specific qualities from the players in those 2 central midfield positions. Amorim wants physicality. He wants players who can cover ground, win duels, and dominate the middle of the pitch physically. Mainoo, while not weak, is not a physical powerhouse. He is more of a technical player who controls games with his passing and positioning. Amorim wants defensive discipline. He needs midfielders who can protect the back 3 and not leave gaps. Mainoo is still learning the defensive side of his game. He can be caught out of position. He does not always track runners. Amorim wants experience. He is under pressure to get results immediately. His job might be on the line. So he picks experienced players like Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte who he trusts to do the job, even if they are not necessarily playing better than Mainoo would. This is short-term thinking at its worst. Amorim is prioritizing his own survival over the development of a talented young player. He is picking older, more experienced players even when they are not actually performing better. But there is more to it than just that. Amorim has been quite critical of Mainoo in his comments to the media. What Amorim has actually said about Mainoo. Let me share with you what Ruben Amorim has said publicly about Kobbie Mainoo, because his words reveal a lot about why the situation is what it is. Back in September, Amorim gave an interview to BBC Sport where he discussed Mainoo specifically. His comments were interesting and concerning in equal measure. Amorim said, "The way I play is completely different from the last manager. I watched a lot of Premier League games when I was in Portugal. You can feel the Manchester United team was really transitional. Sometimes I looked at Kobbie Mainoo and felt he was the only guy who calmed the game down. Now we have other players who can do that and we play a different game. So far, this sounds positive." Amorim is acknowledging that Mainoo has quality, that he can calm the game down, that he brings something valuable. But then Amorim continues, "Kobbie is really good at controlling the game, but if he plays as an 8, he has to reach the box and return. Sometimes he has to cover a lot of space with just 2 players. He could play as a 6, but sometimes he passes the ball and goes away, which is not a reference as a 6. Now we are getting to the criticism." Amorim is essentially saying that Mainoo does not fit perfectly into either of the 2 midfield roles in his system. As a number 8, Mainoo does not get forward enough or cover enough ground. As a number 6, he does not stay disciplined enough positionally. Amorim finishes by saying, "We have to balance everything. He has the technical ability, but he needs to understand the position better. He needs to play in different speeds, sometimes lower, sometimes faster. He can improve on that." So to summarize, Amorim thinks Mainoo has talent, but needs to improve his tactical understanding, his positioning, his pace of play, and his ability to fit the specific roles required in the 3-4-3 system. These are fair criticisms in some ways. Mainoo is still young. He is still learning. There are aspects of his game that need development. But here is the problem. How is Mainoo supposed to improve on these things if he is not playing? How is he supposed to develop his tactical understanding if he is sitting on the bench? How is he supposed to learn to play at different speeds if he only gets 10 minutes at the end of matches? You cannot develop players by not playing them. It is that simple. The England situation makes it worse. The Kobbie Mainoo situation becomes even more painful when you consider his England career. Mainoo played in the Euro 2024 final. He was part of Gareth Southgate's plans. He looked like he would be a regular in the England setup for years to come. But then Southgate left and Thomas Tuchel took over as England manager. And Tuchel has not called up Mainoo once during his tenure so far. Why not? Because Mainoo is not playing for his club. International managers pick players who are playing regularly at high levels. They do not pick players who are sitting on the bench getting 10-minute cameos. The 2026 World Cup is coming up in the summer. This is a huge tournament. This should be a target for Mainoo. At his age and with his talent, he should be pushing to be part of England's World Cup squad. But how can he make the squad if he is not even playing for Manchester United? How can he show England what he can do if Ruben Amorim will not give him opportunities? This is what makes the situation so urgent for Mainoo. His England career is on the line. The World Cup is just months away. He needs to be playing football regularly to have any chance of being selected. This is exactly why Mainoo wanted to go out on loan in the summer, and why he will want to leave again in January. He can see his international career slipping away because his club manager will not play him. The dozen clubs who want Mainoo. Here is something that tells you everything about Kobbie Mainoo's quality and reputation. Over a dozen clubs from around Europe want to sign him. Think about that for a moment. More than 12 clubs have expressed interest in taking Mainoo either on loan or permanently. These are not just any clubs. These are good clubs who see Mainoo as someone who could improve their teams. The report specifically mentions Napoli as long-term suitors. Napoli are one of the biggest clubs in Italy. They compete in Serie A and European competitions. They are managed by Antonio Conte, one of the best coaches in world football. If Napoli want Mainoo, That tells you how highly he is rated outside of Manchester United. Conte does not waste time on average players. He only wants players he believes can make a difference. Imagine Mainoo going on loan to Napoli, working under Conte, playing regularly in Serie A, developing his game in Italian football, which is known for its tactical sophistication. Coming back to United a better, more complete player. That would be ideal for Mainoo's development. That would be smart management of a young talent. But Manchester United are reportedly going to block this. They are going to keep Mainoo at Old Trafford, where he will continue sitting on the bench, not developing, not playing, watching his career stall. Why United want to keep him? So why are Manchester United blocking Kobbie Mainoo from leaving if he is not playing anyway? There are several possible reasons, and none of them are particularly good. Reason 1. Squad depth. United think they need Mainoo as a backup option in case of injuries or suspensions to their first-choice midfielders. They do not want to weaken their squad by letting him go. This sounds logical on the surface, but it is actually terrible reasoning. If Mainoo is good enough to be your backup option, he is good enough to play more regularly. And if you are not going to play him, why keep him around just in case? Let him go develop elsewhere. Reason 2. They do not want to look stupid. United spent years developing Mainoo through their academy. If they let him leave and he becomes a star somewhere else, it makes them look incompetent. So they hold on to him even if they are not using him, just to avoid the embarrassment of losing him. This is ego-driven decision-making, and it is terrible for the player. Reason 3. They think Amorim might eventually start using him. Maybe United believe that once Amorim has more time to work with Mainoo, once the player develops further, he will start getting opportunities. So they want to keep him around for when that happens. This is wishful thinking. Amorim has made his preferences clear. He has players ahead of Mainoo in the pecking order. Nothing suggests this will change anytime soon. Reason 4. They do not want to strengthen potential rivals. If Mainoo goes on loan to another Premier League club and plays well, that helps that club. United might not want to do that. This is selfish and short-sighted. You should make decisions based on what is best for your player and your club, not based on fear of helping others. None of these reasons justify keeping Mainoo if he is not going to play. A talented 20-year-old midfielder needs games. He needs development. He needs to be playing football. The contract situation adds pressure. Here is another factor that makes this situation more complicated. Kobbie Mainoo's contract expires in 2027. That might sound like a long time away, but in football terms, it is not. We are already in the 2025 to 26 season. That means Mainoo has roughly 18 months left on his deal. When a player gets down to the final 18 months of their contract, clubs start to panic. They either need to get the player to sign a new deal or they risk losing him for nothing or for a reduced fee. United should be working on a new contract for Mainoo right now. They should be securing his future. They should be making him feel valued and wanted. But how do you convince a player to sign a new contract when you are not playing him? How do you tell Mainoo that he is important to your future plans when the manager does not pick him? This is the impossible position United have created for themselves. They want to keep Mainoo. They want him to sign a new contract. But they are not giving him the playing time that would make him want to stay. If this continues, there is a very real risk that Mainoo will run down his contract and leave as a free agent or for a small fee. United would lose a homegrown talent they spent years developing. All because they would not play him or loan him out when it made sense. What this decision says about United. The decision to block Kobbie Mainoo from leaving tells us something important about how Manchester United operate as a football club. It shows that United are still making short-term, reactive decisions rather than thinking strategically about player development. It shows that United prioritize keeping squad depth over actually developing young players. They would rather have Mainoo sitting on their bench than thriving somewhere else. It shows that United do not have clear plans for their young players. If they did, Mainoo would either be playing regularly or out on loan getting minutes. Instead, he is in limbo. It shows that United are willing to sacrifice a player's development to protect the manager's job. Amorim does not want to use Mainoo, but United won't move Mainoo on because it might hurt their squad depth. It shows that United have learned nothing from past mistakes. They have lost talented young players before because they did not give them opportunities. They are making the same mistakes again. This is not how well-run clubs operate. Manchester City loan out young players who are not ready for their first team yet. Chelsea have a whole loan army of players developing around Europe. Liverpool give chances to youth when appropriate and loan them out when not. United just keep players around doing nothing. This helps nobody. The comparison to other young players. Let me compare Kobbie Mainoo's situation to how other top clubs handle their young talents. When Phil Foden was not getting regular games at Manchester City, they did not loan him out, but they did gradually integrate him. They gave him minutes in multiple competitions. They showed patience but also commitment to his development. Now he is one of City's most important players. When Bukayo Saka was coming through at Arsenal, they gave him chances. They played him regularly. They showed faith in his ability. Now he is one of the best wingers in world football and an Arsenal icon. When Trent Alexander-Arnold was young at Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp threw him in and backed him even when he made mistakes. Now he is one of the best right-backs in the world. These clubs understood that young players need opportunities to develop. They need to play. They need to make mistakes and learn from them. They need to feel valued and trusted. Manchester United are doing the opposite with Mainoo. They are keeping him around but not using him. They are neither giving him chances nor loaning him out. They are letting his career stall at a crucial moment. If this continues, Mainoo will look back in 5 years and realize that Manchester United wasted a critical period of his development. The years between 20 and 23 are when players develop most. Mainoo is spending them on the bench. What Amorim should actually do. Let me tell you what Ruben Amorim should actually do with Kobbie Mainoo if he wants to be a good manager rather than just a stubborn one. Option 1. Start playing him regularly. Give Mainoo proper chances in Premier League matches. Let him start consecutive games so he can build rhythm and confidence. Show faith in his ability and give him time to adapt to your system. If Amorim truly believes Mainoo has the talent, then give him opportunities to show it. Stop picking underperforming experienced players ahead of him just because they are older. Option 2. Give him a clear pathway to the team. Sit down with Mainoo. Explain exactly what he needs to improve. Give him specific targets to work toward. Show him that if he does X, Y, and Z, he will get opportunities. This would at least give Mainoo something to work toward. Right now, he probably feels like nothing he does in training matters because he is not getting picked anyway. Option 3. Change the system to accommodate him. If Mainoo does not fit the 3-4-3, maybe the 3-4-3 is the problem. Maybe Amorim needs to be more flexible. Maybe he needs to adapt his tactics to the players he has rather than forcing players into roles they do not suit. Sir Alex Ferguson was a master at this. He adapted his tactics based on the players available. He did not have one rigid system. He was flexible and pragmatic. Option 4. Let him go on loan. If Amorim genuinely does not think Mainoo is ready for regular first-team football at United, then loan him out. Let him play 30 to 40 games somewhere else this season. Let him develop. Let him come back a better player. This is what should have happened in the summer. This is what should happen in January if Amorim still will not use him. These are the smart options. These are what a good manager would do. What will actually happen? But let me be realistic about what will actually happen with Kobbie Mainoo. United will block his exit in January as reported. Mainoo will stay at Manchester United for the rest of the season. He will continue to barely play. He will get token appearances here and there but no consistent run of starts. His England hopes will fade. Thomas Tuchel will not pick him for the World Cup squad because he is not playing regularly. Mainoo will miss out on a World Cup that he should have been part of. His confidence will continue to erode. Sitting on the bench week after week, feeling unwanted and unvalued, takes a mental toll on players. Mainoo's self-belief will suffer. His relationship with Manchester United will sour. He will start to resent the club for blocking his development. He will feel like United prioritized squad depth over his career. This resentment will make him more likely to leave permanently when his contract situation allows it. By next summer, United will realize they have a problem. Mainoo will have 1 year left on his contract. He will not want to sign a new deal. Clubs will be circling, knowing they can get him cheap or wait for his contract to expire. United will either have to sell him for much less than he is worth, or risk losing him for nothing the following year. Either way, United lose. This is the most likely scenario based on how United operate and the decisions they keep making. It is depressing but probably accurate. The alternative future that could still happen. But let me also paint the alternative scenario where things actually work out, because we have to maintain some hope. Maybe, just maybe, something changes in January. Maybe Amorim has an injury crisis in midfield and is forced to play Mainoo regularly. Maybe Mainoo seizes that opportunity and plays so well that Amorim cannot drop him. Maybe Mainoo has a breakthrough moment, a performance so good that it forces everyone to take notice. Maybe he scores an important goal or has a man-of-the-match performance in a big match. Maybe Amorim realizes he was wrong. Maybe he sees that Mainoo can actually do the job he needs and starts giving him proper opportunities. Maybe United win a run of matches with Mainoo in the team and Amorim realizes the team plays better with him than without him. If any of this happens, Mainoo's career gets back on track. He starts playing regularly. His confidence returns. England takes notice. He makes the World Cup squad. He signs a new contract at United. He becomes the player we all thought he would be. This scenario is possible. Football can change quickly. One good run of form can transform a player's situation. But it requires Amorim to be flexible and open-minded. It requires United to prioritize Mainoo's development. It requires the player himself to stay mentally strong and ready to take his chance when it comes. Can all of this happen? Yes. Will it happen? History suggests probably not. But we can hope. What United fans should do. So what should Manchester United fans do about this Kobbie Mainoo situation? First, make noise about it. Let the club know that fans care about academy graduates. Let them know we are watching how they treat young players. Use social media, call phone-ins, write to the club. Make your voice heard. Second, support Mainoo whenever he does play. When he comes on as a substitute or gets a rare start, get behind him. Show him that fans appreciate him even if the manager does not seem to. Third, be patient but also hold Amorim accountable. Give the manager time to implement his ideas, but also question decisions that make no sense. Playing worse players ahead of Mainoo is one of those decisions. Fourth, remember that this is about more than just one player. This is about United's entire approach to youth development. If they get this wrong with Mainoo, it sends a message to every young player in the academy. You might not get chances here even if you are good enough. Fifth, prepare for the possibility that Mainoo might leave. If he does, support his decision. Do not turn on him for wanting to play football. Understand that United's handling of his situation forced him into that choice. This is our club and these are our academy players. We have a responsibility to care about how they are treated. The bigger picture about youth development. The Kobbie Mainoo situation is part of a bigger problem at Manchester United regarding youth development and how the club handles young players. United have one of the best academies in England. They produce talented players regularly. But too many of those players either do not break through to the first team or leave to have successful careers elsewhere. Why does this keep happening? Why do United struggle to integrate their young players when clubs like Arsenal and Manchester City do it successfully? The answer is complex, but it comes down to a few factors. First, United lack patience. When managers are under pressure to get immediate results, they pick experienced players over youngsters. They cannot afford to give young players time to develop because their jobs might be on the line. Second, United lack a clear philosophy. Different managers want different types of players and play different systems. Young players who fit one manager's plans might not fit the next manager's. This creates instability. Third, United lack proper pathways from academy to first team. There is not enough communication between youth coaches and the senior manager about which players are ready and how to integrate them. Fourth, United are too focused on big money signings. They would rather spend £60 million on an experienced player than give a chance to an academy graduate who might be just as good. All of these factors combine to create an environment where young players struggle to break through. The Mainoo situation is just the latest example of this long-standing problem. Until United fix these underlying issues, they will keep wasting talented young players. Final thoughts on a critical decision. Manchester United blocking Kobbie Mainoo from leaving in January is a decision that could define both the player's career and the club's approach to youth development. If Mainoo stays and gets opportunities, if Amorim starts using him and he fulfills his potential, this decision looks smart. United will have kept a future star who goes on to be important for years. But if Mainoo stays and continues not playing, if his career stalls further and he eventually leaves frustrated and underdeveloped, this decision looks terrible. United will have wasted one of their brightest talents through stubbornness and poor planning. Right now, based on everything we know, the second scenario seems more likely than the first. Amorim has shown no indication he plans to use Mainoo more. The player is desperate for opportunities but is not getting them. Something has to change. For Mainoo's sake, I hope January brings a change in approach from Amorim. I hope he gets the chances he deserves. I hope his talent is not wasted. But I am not optimistic. United have a history of making poor decisions about young players. This feels like another one. Time will tell whether blocking Mainoo's exit was smart management or a catastrophic mistake. But right now, it looks much more like the latter. Stay informed with United News. Thank you for reading this comprehensive analysis of the Kobbie Mainoo situation at Manchester United. We know this is a difficult and frustrating story for fans who care about the club's future. Here at United News, we will continue following Mainoo's situation closely. We will track whether he gets more opportunities, whether United's stance changes, and what happens with his career. This is what we do. We tell you the truth about Manchester United, even when that truth is uncomfortable. We hold the club accountable. We advocate for what is right for the players and the fans. Keep checking back with United News for all your Manchester United coverage. We are your reliable source for honest analysis and passionate discussion about our club. What do you think United should do with Kobbie Mainoo? Should they let him leave on loan in January? Should Amorim play him more? Share your thoughts with us and with other United fans. Glory, glory, Man United. Even in these frustrating times, we stay united in our support for the club and especially for our young players trying to make their way. Kobbie Mainoo deserves better than this. Let us hope United realize that before it is too late.